1939, 1968, 2024. It is undeniable that there is a modern Holocaust unfolding in front of us. There is a genocide in Gaza. The question now is, what are we going to do about it? University students have become a frontline for protests against the war in Gaza all across America. Encampments have sprung up on college greens all across the country, fighting for universities to take action and stop supporting Israel. The goal of these protests is to specifically target university endowments that often flirt with financial support to Israel or to the military-industrial complex. Here in Burlington, Vermont, students at UVM are practicing in that tradition of resistance with this encampment. What are the 5 student demands?
Number 1, disclose. Our first demand is for UVM to disclose where its endowment goes. The University of Vermont has over $730 million invested in the stock market, supposedly on the public's behalf. This money is invested with currently no accountability, no transparency, and no one to ever see where it goes. And this money must be public information.
2, divestment. We demand that the University of Vermont divest from all companies involved in the ongoing genocide in occupied Palestine. This includes weapons manufacturers, quote-unquote Israeli companies, and other companies with ties to the Israeli occupation. We refuse to have our money go towards the oppression of Palestinians and the atrocities being committed against them.
Number 3, academic boycott. We are calling for the University of Vermont to implement a boycott of Israeli universities and academic institutions. This is a demand that is in line with the Palestinian campaign for the academic and cultural boycott of Israel. This is a campaign that was initiated in 2004 and is a major component of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. This is an important demand because Israeli universities play a key role in upholding the occupation of Palestine and maintaining the ideology of the occupying force of the State of Israel.
Number 4, no Linda. Linda Thomas Greenfield is a war criminal. She's the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, and she's been in the position to pass a ceasefire resolution 3 times, and she has been the singular veto in every single one of those. We don't want her to be the commencement speaker for graduation at our university. It's the biggest event that they have, and it's an incredibly important time for seniors at the university. We don't think a war criminal should be speaking.
Number 5, amnesty. We, the members of the encampment, have been compelled, watching this genocide happen, to come out here and petition the university to divest. We feel that this is something right and just, and we feel that we should not face any repercussions for it. We're simply protesting against genocide. And so by amnesty, we mean amnesty from any student conduct charge or legal charge we might face for protesting here out on the green.
Universities all around the country have responded with hostility to this trend of student activism. Students have been harassed, arrested, and beaten by police, all in the name of a false sense of student safety. In reality, the universities want to protect their cash flow coming from weapons dealers and genocidal maniacs, and above all, save face. How has UVM responded? Despite open communication from the student movement, UVM is attempting to take disciplinary action against student protesters.
I just learned today that UVM, in its wisdom, I guess, is bringing the charges against the students in a room named after Rosa Parks. If you can believe the irony and contradiction of that, it shows what they do to our movements. They oppose us when we're doing the real struggle, and then they coronate us on placards after we're long and gone. Because they don't like us when we're living revolutionaries. They only like us when we're dead revolutionaries. So when we go up to UVM, we are going to be celebrating the living revolutionaries, because they are the future of this country.
Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Ceasefire! When do we want it?
After only a week, UVM students have already had one of their demands met. UVM has agreed to cancel the commencement speaker. These encampments represent a real and tangible resistance in America to a genocidal regime thousands of miles away. If we can target the financial aspect of the war machine, we can hinder its ability to keep the blood flowing. In the 80s, UVM students created a similar encampment that fought for divestment from apartheid South Africa. And after a long fight against the university, it had all its demands met. The small town of Burlington, Vermont has had its own special relation to the conflict, with 3 Palestinian students being the target of a hate crime shooting in November. That same month, Spotify decided to recommend the city as an alternative music hub, muddling the city's reputation through a blast of social media posts. Much of the coverage of these protests has missed the point. It's not about the encampment, it's about Palestine. It's about the genocide in Gaza. These encampments exist to create pressure on universities to sap financial power away from Israel, and that's exactly what they're doing. I want you to imagine a friend of yours, a mother, a father, a coworker, a young child. Now imagine them reduced to ash, and imagine that every day for months. What would you do?